often ask a person, how can I believe in myself more? Sometimes we get knocked down, sometimes we just struggle for days or weeks or months or decades, and we have that like I just lost faith in myself somewhere. I wasn't so confident in my teens or my 20s or my 30s or whenever, and now I lost my emotional man. I don't have the confidence and the Bible and the Bob, and I lost faith in myself. What can I do? And I don't have a past easy answer for that, but I got 5 ideas here that might just help you. I'm outside here as my right violence or reason. I thought, you know what? Why don't we just talk about this? It's a tough topic, but let's take it also forget the sounds of nature if we got them. Forget the sounds of anything going by, but let's rock and roll. Number one, way to start to believe in yourself is momentum. Now I know of the path. If you really hate yourself right now, you are like taste bread on. I got no momentum. That's why I hate myself. So hold on. I will get to the mindset stuff. I will get to the emotional stuff. But sometimes believing in yourself is just actually winning a little bit each day. Just a little bit of a win can give you just stop meaning that says, oh, what just the what? I feel better. I can be a very simple natural logical pace of just achieving a couple of small goals, and as you are hard. Me say anytime you are dealing with difficulty, it can be just simple thing, but it got to be momentum. So whatever you are doing in your life, if you got a job, think about what small things can I do tomorrow to move ahead. If you are dealing with a difficulty in a relationship, what would be a simple win, a simple moment of appreciation, just something they could say, or you could say to put some more pop and energy back into that relationship. Just one smile, one kiss, one good text can change the game for you. Also, if it's just something simple you can do in your own health. Look, sometimes going to the gym and leaving you feel a little better, just a little bit of movement has been proven to change people's state of mind and their emotion too. So just get to the gym or get a little bit of small goal setting, getting a little bit of momentum for it in any area of your life. That at least a beginning, and then do it again the next day. Don't just go and crush in it tomorrow and then be a jerk and do nothing and watch the 7 season of Netflix. On the next day, momentum is daily little things every single day adds up to richness. Second big piece, this immerse to the emotional side. Iteration, my friend, iteration. People don't believe in themselves. It's not that there has been evidence that they shouldn't believe in themselves. They had some wins, they had some goals that came true. They made the metric happen, but they never iterated the win. They never had a good thing happen, and they said there at the end of the night thinking about that good thing, that happiness, and all when it to come into their heart. Although when whatever they did to give themselves credit for its permission to feel good about it, to say, you know what, I did it today, it went well today, that worked today, and to iterate that win, iterate that success, iterate that moments in their heart, into just individuality as a human being. What happens is most of us, we know of the checklist and just it, and 5 years later, after all this, makes it happen. Make it happen, corrected it, corrected. 5 years later, we feel the same about ourselves, the same level of confidence, the same level of belief in ourselves, because we didn't allow those things to enter our right, enter our spirit and strength. We didn't. We took them had momentum eternally, but we didn't have any momentum eternally. Building our character and our strength, we never achieved that sense of right of ownership of what we did. We didn't own it, that we did it, so we never got stronger. That means you need an iteration right. At the end of the day, just sit down at the end of the day and go, what worked today, what did I do today, what little thing should I allow myself a little bit aggressive for, what did I say that was nice or kind, what did I send away that I got done, what did I finish, what goals did I move a little closer to, and just at the end of the day to allow that to commit. This isn't about just being ourselves and showing I'm awesome, I'm awesome with no evidence. I'm showing you know we got some momentum. It's a race that now, out that you did the work today, you found the words right, you finished the day, you are still alive. You know what you need to go to do tomorrow is raise that success. It's yourself that greatest. You will develop that strength of spirit that's so important. If you don't believe in yourself at all, just hyper, get some feedback. Most people peers when you don't believe in yourself, you don't want any feedback because they might say you are stupid or you suck or you only and you know what. If you do that, you're getting feedback from the wrong people. Sometimes it's necessary to get feedback from the people that we love. Feedback from people we know, like and just say, hey, could I ask you a question? What I'm doing that you are seeing just seem right, because right now I don't feel like I'm doing anything right. And they will say, what are you talking about? No, Reed, you're smart, you are good, you've been doing this. Sometimes people can give us feedback, can help us see that we are doing better than we think, because maybe you are a perfectionist, or maybe you grew up with somebody who pushed so hard on you, you never tolerated any success. And sometimes you need somebody pushing hard at you and saying, good job, kid. You are doing all right. I'm proud of you. I see that you working hard here. I see that you are trying. So sometimes it's about getting around a new circle of people who are strivers, who are also journalists, who are fighting hard, who can give you that feedback and say, good job, keep at it. And if you do get negative feedback over and over and over, assess is easier. Do you need to train and sip and get better? And if you don't hate that, don't get mad at that. Take that as a challenge instead of talking things as an interest in crying over people comment. Go, Hobbs, you know what? That got some basic Israelity. I'm going to take that as a challenge. I'm going to develop myself, not to prove I'm wrong, but to get better. Allow yourself that. Allow that feelings to come from the feedback. Next stop. I love this one. It's so simple. It's just rhyming the emotions that we want to experience in our life. What does that mean? It means doing something in advance so we can feel it, and here is what I mean by that. It's morning every single day. See, I want to be motivated and driven. I want to feel grateful for life. I want to have a sense of passion about the day. But you know what? Some days I wake up and I feel like rest. So what am I going to do? Go through the day and just allow my impulsive feel to tell me to feel like rest all day and lose motive days. No, I'm going to say, okay, I rest all night. I feel like rest. Why I didn't sleep well or why I got this bad attitude right now. I'm going to train it. In the morning, I do an affirmation practice and visualization practice where what I do is I pick something every single morning. I do this. I rest a little, just a couple of paragraphs. Maybe I read from my Bible. Maybe I read from one of my books or another books. It's a passage. I have a bunch of passages in my notes section of my phone to each I'm on the chart, and I will just this it out loud, pretending that I'm light in my most passionate, happy, blessed in my life. So I will be reading out loud some phrases Delano Roosevelt. I will be reading out loud some Martin Luther King. I will be reading out loud some Napoleon Hill, or I will be reading out loud some Earth Night as loud as I can. That for activate a power which activates an emotion which activates my day. So you just got to prime some emotion, or sometimes I will be in the shower and I will say, what can I do today, or what I'm going to do today that would bring a laugh. What can I do today that I'm excited for? And I will just get my energies up right away to have good energies in life. Remember, as I always say, the power plant doesn't have energies, it generates it. You don't have a happiness, you generate it, so just to rise the emotions you want to experience in life. Cultivate it summers your energy versus having a good unless on you, and you will start to feel better about yourself and about life. And the last big one, you knew I was going to go there. Love. You already know a thing about love yourself, and maybe in some ways you never allow that. You never notice the beautiful things you don't in your life, so you never allow yourself to love yourself. But at some point, you are going to recognize that there a love that beyond you and beyond me and beyond your action, and that love is whatever part of us here live today. Some would say it's God's will and God's love. For some people, it's the randomness of the universe. Some people it's the nature. Some people it's whatever. But there is something way beyond us, and there is a way to access that, and a way to honor that, and the way to honor that is to recognize that you are anywhere about 7 billion people. No one is like you, special colleagues, and at least take that as a moment of saying, okay, I'm me to live my independence. I am supposed to love the things that make me old and wait. I'm supposed to love the things that make me strong. I was a magic way, so let me honor what's good about that and what's not good about that. Let me work on that. Let me set a schedule to get me better at that, so that I can not only honor what I have been given, but I can give something back to by getting better. And that aspect of doing that brings in so much joy and so much strength in our life. In love. Loving ourselves, loving process, and of course the greatest way to believe in ourselves is to love other people, that they become so grateful for us, that they give us some of that feedback, that there is so much appreciation and love and joy in the moment with others, that you can't help but just feel that vibe, that there is an emotional contagion When other people around you are feeling loved and cared for and excited about life, it's hard not to jump up on you a little bit and you start to say, you know that, you know what, life isn't so bad and you know what, I deserve to feel good here right now too, and you know what, you start to getting some momentum, so some wins, you iterate the wins, you get some feedback to get better, and as a student you start to believe in yourself again, or a student you start to lead the struggle life